Patriotic, and it has changed my life. I'm a fan of his ever since. I love this collection. Of his most legendary supermodels and more. The four queens of the runway. Fashion, New York Fashion Week is right around the corner. Librarian tonight, and that's because I came to read a bitch. Jaja's Atelier, bitch. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Jaja's Atelier. It's good to be back. I really, really, really miss you guys, but I'm going to be honest with you all. After the last show, a couple of days after the last show, Trump had just, started getting into office, the whole Trump regime, and it really, really kind of shook me up because it brought me back to the uncertainty of his first presidency, the anxiety, the not knowing. So I decided that for my New Year's resolution for 2025 was going to be a social media detox for however long I thought I needed. And so I decided to take a month. Now, that doesn't mean I wasn't watching everything that was going on. By the way, do you guys like her? She's new. I decided to get I've got a brand new hairdo for the new episode. We're going to call her Veronica, as in Veronica Lake, darling. Anyway, I haven't been in full glam in over a month. I feel like I'm having an out-of-body experience. I haven't looked this good in over a month. I have not been doing any makeup. I have not really been paying attention to anything. I've been really just focused on getting everything in my house together. I'm actually thinking about selling my house, which is making me want to get the renovations done even faster. And yeah, I just lived my life. I went to work. I popped in and out of social media every now and then. There were certain points over the last month that I just could not say anything, but I didn't show my face on social media not one time. Not one time. And my mind is clear, my thoughts are together, and I said, I'm going to come back on February the 1st. Now, I had completely forgotten that the Grammys were last night. Today is Monday night. It's probably going to be Tuesday morning by the time you guys see this. So I said, okay, I'll wait till Monday, which gave me a couple of extra days. Ooh, my chair. Which gave me a couple of extra days to luxuriate. I lost a few pounds. I've been eating really good. I've been juicing, honey. I've been working out, So, listen, I think right now more than ever, we really need to just take a moment. If you haven't taken a moment, if you are in this social media / legacy news media whirlwind that we're in right now, take a break. Even if it means you don't come and watch me, take a break. It is the best thing I have done. I've never stepped away from social media that long. I haven't lost any subscribers. I hope everybody is glad to see me back. But we're in some dark times right now. And with all that was going on, I just didn't feel like, it was menswear fashion week in Paris and Milan, and then it was haute couture, which we're going to get to in a minute. Listen, I can't stay away from fashion. But I just didn't really feel like getting on here and talking about gowns and beading and sequins and chantilly lace and celebrity gossip while one half of the country was burning and the other half of the country was freezing to death. I was on the side of the country that was freezing to death. But before I really get into the show, I want to, first of all, let me start off by saying, I don't give a fuck what they say. Happy Black motherfucking History Month, bitch. Number two, I want to send huge prayers to the people in LA and California with all the wildfires going on and how politics have gotten thrown up against humanity is really ridiculous. But I really want to send my prayers out to the town of Altadena. Altadena, California is a town that is deeply rooted in Black history. It is so many buildings and so many memories that those people will not be able to get back. And I really feel absolutely awful for those people that lost everything in Altadena. So I just want to send prayers out to them. I also want to send prayers out to the victims of that god awful plane crash between a small commercial flight and a helicopter that collided and landed in the Potomac River. My thoughts and prayers to the victims and their families in that situation as well. And also the plane that crashed in the middle of a town in Philadelphia out of nowhere. Thoughts and prayers to Philly and the victims and their families as well. It's a lot of things that's been going on. And in light of everything that's going on, I want to play a piece of a speech by race educator and activist Tim Wise. Take a listen.
The whole history of America is the history of rich white men telling not rich white people that their enemies are black and brown. It starts in the colonies of what would become the United States. Let's remember, during the colonial period, mid-1600s, there was no such thing as white people. I know some people who are now called white find that shocking, right? Because they think whiteness is real, right? But whiteness was created. Europeans didn't call themselves white. We didn't call ourselves white. We weren't all members of one big happy family. Are you kidding? Have you studied the history of Europe? The history of Europe was about killing each other. That's what we did in Europe. We just killed each other before we figured out there were other people to kill. We just killed each other, right? I mean, that was the history of Europe. The English hated the Irish, right? Northern Italians didn't even think that Southern Italians were Italians. The Germans hated everybody, and everybody hated their ass right back, right? There was no team called white, no race called white, but all of a sudden, in the middle of the 1600s, there was. Why? Why was it suddenly necessary to create this thing called the white race? Well, because rich people can count, that's why. And so rich folks looked around, the ones that owned all the land, you know, in the colonies, the colonial elite looked around and they realized something, that they were heavily outnumbered by African enslaved folks, by European indentured servants who were just one level above a slave, or other Europeans who weren't technically indentured servants, but they were still peasants, didn't have any money, didn't have any land, and they could do the math. They added it up and they were like, damn, we got to figure out a way to split these folks apart from one another or they're going to rise up and take our stuff, right? Because after a while, these black folks who were enslaved Africans and these quote unquote white folks who were poor Europeans are going to figure out they're all getting played by these rich people, right?
And played we got. And played we got. Let me start off with the whites. Because today, this is going to be a reading session. Let me light my cigarette. This is going to be a real reading session because I've been sitting on ice for a month and the bitch is thawed out. So let's get straight into it. White people. White MAGA, right wing, wild, red belly, conservative, Christian nationalist white people. Your slip is really starting to show. Those of you who went down to that voting booth led by hate and got this crazy prick back in office, your whiteness is not going to protect you this time. Because I've been hearing over the last month a lot of people comparing Trump to Hitler. And there are a lot of similarities between Trump and Hitler. I mean, Trump basically stole his playbook. But the one difference is Trump doesn't care about your race. Trump doesn't care about your heterosexuality. Trump doesn't give a fuck about your children. Trump doesn't give a fuck about preserving whiteness in this country. Trump does not give a fuck about your hateful heart and the groups of people that you have hate for. Trump gives a fuck about your net worth. And if your net worth does not match the net worth of the people around him, then you are indeed a minority. I have been seeing so many people go up for the deportation of migrants. It's been a lot of people. Get them out of here. They don't belong here. Who are white people who are descendants of European rejects who had to find somewhere else to go or else they were going to be killed, as Mr. Tim Wise just so brilliantly said. Who are you to tell anybody where the fuck they belong? And let me tell y'all white folks something, and it's not all white folks, but I've been sitting up in my bed and in my house and in my car day after day after day after day, listening and hearing white people sit up in mainstream media and talk about these people as if they have no right to be here, as if they contribute nothing to this society in which we call America. If this is how you feel about Mexican and Hispanic and Latino people, give them California back. Give them Texas back. Because originally, Texas and California were not a part of the United States of America. You took it from them. Much like you white folks take everything else. You just can't seem to help yourself. Your insecurity is starting to show. And now all of you have egg on your face. Because accompanied with the mass deportations, with the stroke of my pen, came a freeze on all government loans and funding, which affected who? Blue-collar white folks. Oh my God. His first couple days in office, he wants to do away with everything trans. There's only 2 genders. It is amazing that the ditch that a lot of you dug for what you don't like is the same ditch that they're going to put your body in right on top of the rest of us. What needs to happen is community. All of that trans stuff, all of that black stuff, all of that white stuff, all of that Latino stuff, all of that division, all of these pockets that we have let these people put us in for all of these years and decades has to be put to the side right now if we want to save this country. I'd like to play another excerpt from an old news interview with legendary actor, singer, and activist, the iconic Paul Robeson. Take a listen.
The Africans and the American Negroes have turned out to be an extraordinarily gifted people. Unquestionably, I am an American, born there. My father slaved there. Upon the backs of my people was developed the primary wealth of America, the primary wealth. You have to have accumulated wealth to start, to build. You did it another way here in Australia. You had to build your accumulated wealth too. You just came and took it. You know what I mean? And that's what they did in most of the countries. That's what you Europeans did. You just took it. There's a lot of America that belongs to me yet. You understand? I'm proud for being African. Now, in our school books, they tried to tell me that all Africans were savages, till I got to London and found most of the Africans I knew were going to Oxford and Cambridge and doing very well. And somewhere, it was wonderful to find about the colored peoples of the world that they were very advanced. So I would say today that I'm an American who is infinitely prouder to be of African descent. No question about it. No question about it.
So now let me speak to my black folks. I have been seeing this running trend of black women saying, oh, we gonna sit this one out. Oh, we gonna mind our business. I also saw a reel on Instagram, because I don't do TikTok, of this black woman, and she basically said, we don't need to worry about the DEI. You know why? Because we're the most educated in the country. And I got the windmilling in the comment section about this, because I commented and I said the most educated, the most disrespected, the most underpaid, and the most marginalized against. How dare you feel like you have the luxury, because of your European education, to sit this out and mind your business? The assumption that your education is giving you the privilege to sit this out and not stand is baffling to me. The ignorance amongst our people is baffling to me. And I'm going to tell black women something. And this is not all black women, because there was a lot of black women in the comment section that agreed with what I was saying. But let me tell you this. Why wouldn't you be the most educated in this country? You are the birth mother. You come from the birth mother of civilization. Why wouldn't you be the most educated? Hell, we gave them civilization. We gave them mathematics. We gave them science. We gave them community. Why wouldn't you be the most educated in this country? Even with all the odds stacked up against you, why wouldn't you be? Your power is an inheritance. It's in your blood. It wasn't given to you by education. You were born with it. That black girl magic that we love to talk about, that's what that is. Excuse me, my nose is itching. Your brilliance, your creativity, not just as black women, but as black people, is an inheritance to us. It's within us. It's boiling in our blood. It's that thing that gets us up and keeps us going. How dare you think you have the privilege in a country that has oppressed you over and over and over again, to think that your European white education is enough for you to have the privilege to sit this one out? To my black men out there is so many other ways that you guys could step into the light and really take leadership. Where are my Fred Hamptons at? Where are my James Baldwins at? Where are my Malcolm X's at? Where are my W.E.B. Du Bois's at? And I'm going to tell y'all something else, and I'm about to get real gully with it. All my real hitters, my real niggas, all of them. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Where y'all at now? Because y'all love to sit up on the internet and brag about how you killed another brother, but you won't dare. You won't dare catch you a crooked cop. You mean to tell me that y'all Negroes is sitting up here on the internet bragging about how many chains you done snatched and how many niggas you done robbed out your own neighborhood that you done grew up with, but you are sitting up there, you sat up here and you watched on January the 6th. And I'm not trying to incite no riot. I don't think it's right. But you mean to tell me all you thugs and all you real niggas is sitting up here and you watch these white people storm the Capitol and you gonna sit up here and watch this prick sign away all your rights with the stroke of my pen and you don't have nothing to say? You're not gonna do anything? You just as pussy as the Democrats are. Which leads me into my next read. Y'all Democrats are killing me. If it wasn't for Hakeem Jeffries and Alexandria Cortez, honey, and Jasmine Crockett and Maxine Waters, are y'all asleep? This man has given Elon Musk clearance into all our personal information, our social security numbers, where we get our money from, if we paid our taxes. This a South African immigrant who is slightly touched, if you ask me. And you Democrats aren't going to stand up and really, really handle up on business? You've got to be fucking kidding me. To my tax-paying Americans, we pay them. We pay them. That money that Trump tried to freeze last week, okay? That's our money that we paid in. And you just signed it away with the touch of a button and a signature on a ballot. Now, I will be positive and I will say this. Let me relight my cigarette. I do see people starting to wake up. When that money, because let me tell y'all something. When that freeze came, that meant Section 8, food stamps, Medicare, Medicaid, and a lot of white folks was like, oh, now hold on now. Because quiet as it's kept, it's more white people or government assistance than it is us. Now everybody's waking up, see. So I do have hope that people are going to call the bullshit for what it is. Because what they are trying to do is bankrupt this country and make it their playground. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. And they're going to use your hard-earned tax dollars to do it. And I'm sorry. I cannot sit around here and talk about who slept with who last week and not address the real issues that are going on. I can't sit up here and talk about, oh, it's Culture Week, and there are real issues going on. As much as I love all the foo-la-la, business first. I really think that the younger generation of us, we really, really, really need to, because that's the only way. We need to be on our local government's ass. We need to really invest in each other and our businesses. And we really need to look out for us. Because nobody else is coming to save black people, queer people, poor white people, or Latino or Hispanic people in this country. Nobody. I think over time, the generations that have come after, the civil rights movement, we've gotten really comfortable. We've gotten really comfortable to the point where we think that these freedoms is just owed to us. No, our ancestors had to fight for us to be able to do stuff like this, for us to even be able to read. Black women couldn't even wear their hair out. Everything that we have done, they have came and trampled over it, stuck their stake in it, and claimed it as their own. Everything. Social media plays a big hand in this. The fact that we can, go to certain restaurants and be in certain spaces that black people weren't allowed before has played a part in this. We've become too comfortable. We have become too comfortable. These freedoms they're not an inheritance. It's not just something that was given to us that no, in a way it is our inheritance. And oftentimes when people get an inheritance, they squander it away. And we're at that point right now. An inheritance is something that has to be maintained over time. Because if not, everything that was given to you will be... And we haven't been working on it. Most of us have not been working at keeping our freedoms. We have gotten too freaking comfortable in this country. The same country that had us bound and gagged in fields, picking cotton, watching their children, and cleaning their houses. We've gotten too comfortable. And I'm terrified. I'm terrified, but that's not going to keep me from talking. We have seen so many organizations and businesses roll back their DEI. And I'm not very, very familiar with Tabitha Brown because I'm not a Target shopper like that. Ooh, this top. Ooh. I'm not a Target shopper like that. But I heard everything she said and I understand where she's coming from. But I'm not shopping at Target. I don't buy Tabitha Brown stuff anyway. I wish her the best. I respect the business that she's built for herself, but it's about more than you right now, Tabitha Brown. It's about more than the other black businesses because listen, they make more money from y'all being in y'all stores than y'all do. Most of you. And, instead of a lot of people were like, oh, girl, shut up. It's not about you right now. But it is in a way about her and the other black people who own, black business owners who have and who do business with Target and Walmart and places like that. So I think instead of us like, oh, I ain't buying her shit. Let's find other ways to support them where they make the majority of the money and Target and Walmart in these places don't see any of it. They claim that we are the brokest group of people in the country, but we buy the most shit. Our spending power fuels this country. Without our dollars, honey, without the dollars of the queer community, without the dollars of the black community, without the dollars of the Latino and Hispanic community, this country would crumble. They don't need Elon Musk to bring this country to its knees. Us rescinding our dollars will do it just fine. But we also have to figure out a way to keep on supporting the Tabitha Browns. You know, we can't be ignorant anymore. This ignorance that a lot of us have, it's really scary to me. Because it's no way in fuck you can be this goddamn stupid to agree with anything that this man says. You cannot possibly be this ignorant. They don't even want to teach our children their history. Our children some children in this country have to go to schools with the names of slave owners on the front of their schools. No other community in this country has to go through that. I don't see no remnants of Hitler anywhere. Anywhere. All of those statues that they took down during COVID that were named after slave owners and... Ooh, excuse me. That martini is repeated on me. And all of that. They're trying to rebuild those. Are we going to let that happen? We are the ones that we are the ones that put money in these people's pocket. When y'all go to Burger King and find a roach on your burger, what do you do? And if I have to hear the word DEI one more time, the insecurity of white people makes me sick. You know what? You know what it's like dealing with white people in this country? It's like it's like playing tag with your older cousin, and every time you start to win, they change the rules up. That's what it's like dealing with white people in America. And speaking of DEI, honey, I think one of the requirements of being the president of the United States, you need to have at least 8 inches of dick. Because these short dick crackers, I'm telling you, they are the most insecure of the insecure. In order to be president of the United States, the new requirement must be you need at least 8 inches of dick. Because you motherfuckers are short-dicked, ill-equipped, and insecure. And it's showing every time he gets on that TV. He never misses a moment or a camera. I'm talking about Trump. They have no other way to assert dominance and to be a man other than to wreak havoc on everybody else with their money. I don't even know if Donald Trump really has any money. And you really have to question somebody who is that old and has that much money, allegedly, who wants to be the president of the United States. Don't you want to sit in Coco Cabana somewhere with a Mai Tai? Like, why does Elon Musk want to be all up and through? And none of you MAGA folks is questioning that? Ooh, honey. So listen. With all that being said, there's going to be times when I feel like covering political stuff, and there's going to be times when I'm not going to want to touch it because it's just too much. And all of this talk without any action is pointless. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm getting in touch with my local government here in the small town of Virginia in which I live. I've already talked to the police chief. Like, I'm really trying to get the ball rolling here. Because I pay taxes here. If you're going to treat me any kind of way, then you don't need my motherfucking money. And that's just how I feel about it. And that's how every tax-paying American should feel about it. Fuck the bullshit. Fuck the ignorance. Worry about you and your dollars. And if that means you got to group up with the trainees, the fags, the niggas, the Jews, the Mexicans, the Hispanics, then that's just what the fuck you're going to have to do. Unless you don't mind going hungry. Unless you don't mind not being able to take Mima to the doctor for her dialysis appointment. Anyway. So, listen. On to some lighter stuff. It's been a while, but I did watch all the haute couture shows. But before I get into the haute couture shows, my 3 favorite, I want to send a huge shout out to, oh my God, it just left me. Now, y'all, it's been a month, so bear with me. To New York-based designer Willie Chavaria, who made his Paris menswear debut last week or 2 weeks ago, with his latest collection, a show-stopping collection which was deep-rooted in some of the rights, freedoms, and equalities that are being threatened right now, which is definitely what we needed. This is what art is about. I don't care about how much the Swarovski crystals cost on the gown. What does the collection mean? He is of Mexican descent. The show was held at the American Cathedral in Paris, and the collection featured a heavy late 60s, early 70s feel, and also some from the 1940s and 30s. We saw people, J Balvin performed. We saw India Moore, who I haven't seen on anybody's camera in a long time. If you don't remember India Moore, she was one of the stars of Pose. I mean, look at this collection, guys. This absolutely, I love like this zoot suit with the suede. I absolutely love this collection. And I love the meaning behind it. And I think more fashion designers need to step it up. Givenchy, who dressed Ivanka Trump for the inaugural ball. How dare you? I won't be talking about them anymore. Not as much as I used to. Listen, I get that every designer wants their moment, but Trump's inaugural was not it. It is too many black folks, Hispanic folks, and definitely gay folks for y'all to be endorsing that kind of bullshit. So, huge shout out to Willie Chavaria for, I know I'm butchering that name, for that amazing collection and really, really taking Paris Menswear Week by storm. I want to send you a huge congratulations. Now, let's get into the haute couture, darling. So, I laid in the bed. Every time I got off work, I watched the shows. I didn't talk about it. I didn't post about it because, like I said, I was on a social media detox. And I really watched the shows in their entirety. I really didn't even really see them on social media. I watched them in their entirety on YouTube. So I have 3 favorites. Just 3. So let me start. Coming in 3rd place is the brilliant Ludwig de Saint-Sernin, who took the 2025 creative director guest spot as Jean-Paul Gaultier. Now, Ludwig is a definite front runner in this new wave of queer fashion. I've been a fan of his for a couple of years now. He's actually quite young. He's actually a couple of years younger than me. I think he's 31 or 32, if memory serves me correctly. Listen, he has this dark sensuality, this gothic romance kind of a feel to his work. And I'm going to tell you something else about Mr. Sernin. He knows how to make a garment. He understands structure. He understands just dressmaking and garment making far beyond his years. And so when I've seen his past collections, I see a little bit of Jean-Paul Gaultier in his past work. So I was really excited to see what he was going to bring. The collection was entitled I always butcher these names. La Naufragie, which in French means shipwrecked. Which in English means shipwrecked. Bear with me, y'all. It's been a month, but I look good though, and the titties are out. So he turned the runway into a fairy tale about seductive mermaids, sensual pirates, and glamorous aristocrats, which was a huge nod to Jean-Paul Gaultier, because Jean-Paul Gaultier is one of the great storytellers of fashion. Along with Terry Mugler, I think are the two that really know how to tell a story with fashion. Anyway, to me anyway. Now, Ludwig is the 8th and youngest designer to take the spot, while also, this is his first time doing haute couture. I mean, look at this. This is his first crack at haute couture, and he absolutely took the ball and ran with it. I absolutely love the collection. My favorite looks were the first one here, this blue, just the way, just the laser cutting. It was just insane. I also love the Jean-Paul Gaultier references all up and through, honey. And the final look, the Gaultier bride with the swan feathers and just the fluidity of it all. I mean, look at this. Absolutely stunning. So I want to say huge congratulations to Ludwig de Saint-Sernin, coming in at second place is Miss So-hee. So-hee Park is her name. At only 28 years old, So-hee Park is vastly becoming a highlight on the Paris Haute Couture schedule, pulling inspiration from her homeland of South Korea and all of its regal history. You know, if you ever looked at, you know, the history of South Korea, it's very rich, darling. Very, very, very aristocratic in its own way. I loved, also, as well as, pulling, inspiration from nature, like, most notably cherry blossoms and mother of pearl motifs. I loved the embroidery and the architecture of it. She's a master at that. Every look. I also loved the silk organza. Now, this silk organza is, I think they said that it's woven over top with nylon thread, which I use quite a lot, which gives it that electrifying effect, which I really love this. I love the mother of pearl hoods. I mean, Miss So-hee, I've only seen her, I think she's only been around for maybe 3 or 4 years, but again, another rising star with knowledge and wisdom of garment making far beyond their years. So huge congratulations to So-hee Park on this collection. I mean, it absolutely blew me away. But I have to say, y'all, and I'm sorry if I'm running through this kind of quick, but we're already 45 minutes in, and we've got to touch on the Grammys and another award show, so bear with me. I have to give it to Daniel Rosenberg for Schiaparelli. When I saw these gowns coming down the runway, I died! Honey. Now, so listen, WWD, Women's Wear Daily, caught up with Daniel Rosenberg after the show, and I have the clip here. I want you guys to take a look at it because I need him to explain it, because this was just out of my stratosphere, okay? So take a listen.
So you're over minimalism?
I'm over the idea that minimalism equals modernism. And so I found that my eye was hungry and thirsting for something that was a bit less streamlined, a bit more worked in a way. And it started with going to this ribbon store, which I mentioned in the notes, and finding these pre-war materials. And it was so emotional and evocative of a different time. And so that, in combination with a quote that I read from Yves Saint Laurent, he was talking about Schiaparelli, and he said it was a balance of rigor and fantasy. And to me, that was the whole thing. We don't have a robot baby this time. We don't have the things that I felt were creatively correct 3 years ago are different today. And I wanted people to really be focused on the work and the craft and what the ateliers can do.
There's a lot of invisible work going on
Yes.
in these looks because they look very smooth on the surface and
Yes.
all kinds of things going on underneath.
Yes, but there's always, like, when we do something constructed, the idea was to suspend silk tulle from it or something so that it was always fluid and silhouette at the same time. Whenever we've tried to do a bias cut dress or something that doesn't have a silhouette, it doesn't feel like us. So we took a tulle or a Georgette dress and we started draping it on top of.
Okay, so let's get into the collection. Listen, I'm going straight to my favorite looks. I loved the structured, I don't know how to describe it, but it was like a hula hoop around, just orbiting around the girl's shoulders. I love those looks. My favorite look had to be the look that was worn by Kendall Jenner. The way, and listen, he described it as, he doesn't want to do muted looks anymore. He's saying minimalism is out. Minimalism is boring. We've seen it for the last couple of years now, maybe 3 to 4 years now. It's been minimalism, quiet luxury, minimalism. Daniel Rosenberry said, fuck all of that, honey. I'm going for the gusto. And the gusto is exactly what he went for. I mean, these structured gowns up here are... Oh, somebody's calling me. These structured gowns are just absolutely insane. And I'm going to tell you what, I know he said he looked to Yves Saint Laurent for inspiration and, the relationship that Yves Saint Laurent had with Elsa Schiaparelli. And he also found inspiration in ribbons from the war, if you heard in what he said. But I'm going to tell you what designer this really made me think about. It really brought me back to late 80s, early 90s Christian Lacroix with the silk organza and the satins and the corsetry and just the way the way it was just put together. It really reminded me of Christian Lacroix. And I miss those days of fashion. Just the old school glamour of it all, but bringing it to 2025 in a way that's not so gimmicky. You know what I'm saying? Like he even admitted to himself, like, we don't have a robot baby this time. We don't need a robot baby. My titties are coming out of this top, honey. Woo, girl, keep the girls in, honey. We don't need a robot baby. We need artistry. We need that classic couture, brought to the present. So huge congratulations to Daniel Rosenberry. You put your foot in this collection, honey, and I lived for it. I watched the show, I know, at least 6 times. So huge congratulations to him and everybody else that showed during Haute Couture Week. Now, I told you I'm running through this fast. We closing in at an hour. So listen, let's get into the Grammys. Now, I didn't see a whole lot of people there. I didn't even think they were going to have the Grammys this year. I didn't think that it was really going to be appropriate. I know people have been, because of the LA fires, people were talking about, oh, should we have the Grammys? Should we have the Oscars? But I like what the Grammys did this year. They turned the Grammys into kind of like an old school telethon, and people were donating money. They raised millions and millions of dollars amongst the viewers alone. No telling yet how much the celebrities donated. So I really did appreciate that. And I liked that they brought the LA firefighters out on stage and everybody gave them a standing ovation and a round of applause. But I have to send a huge congratulations to my girl Doechii. Doechii became the third woman in history to take home the Grammy Award for Best Rap Album. Prior to that, Cardi B had one, which... And also, the first was actually Lauryn Hill. So, listen, huge congratulations to her. She looked absolutely stunning. She was wearing Thom Browne. I love this look. Her mom went with her. Her mom looks damn good, by the way. I thought it was her sister. I also loved Willow Smith's look. She was wearing Dior lingerie as outerwear with Versace Medusa pumps. And I also love Sabrina Carpenter's look. I can't remember who she was wearing because I really didn't watch the red carpet, but I did watch the whole award show. And let me tell you something. I haven't watched the Grammys in years, and I was pleasantly surprised. Listen, this new up-and-coming group of talent that's getting ready to hit the music scene, the rest of y'all girls can pack it up because Sabrina Carpenter is one hell of a performer. I loved Billie Eilish. Doechii shut it down. That was my favorite performance of the night. And we also have to send huge congratulations to the queen bee herself, Miss Beyonce, for taking home Best Album of the Year, which she has been snubbed for over and over and over and over and over again. And she also won for Best Country Album. She is the first Black person, I believe, in general, to win in that category. So, listen, a lot of people were saying, all right, I'm going to keep it real with y'all. I kind of knew that she was going to win because, listen, Jay-Z made a big fuss. Like, y'all not going to keep on playing with my wife like this. Okay? So I kind of thought that she was going to win, and I don't really know who else was nominated. Who the fuck cares? But going back to Doechii, I loved Doechii's speech. Take a look.
I know that there is some Black girl out there, so many Black women out there that are watching me right now, and I want to tell you, you can do it. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Don't allow anybody to project any stereotypes on you that tell you that you can't be here, that you're too dark, or that you're not smart enough, or that you're too dramatic, or you're too...
Such an inspiring speech. Beyonce also gave an inspiring speech. She was really shocked when she won. Alicia Keys. You know, the celebrities really used the Grammy stage to send a message that we're not going to take this bullshit that y'all going for. As well as even Lady Gaga came out. She looked absolutely stunning. Her face was everything last night. She really stood up for the LGBT community and got a round of applause and a standing ovation. So, huge congratulations to all the winners last night. And also, before I wrap up this Grammy recap, I want to send a huge congratulations to Chris Brown, who won Best R&B Album. Listen, I don't know how long you guys are going to keep on punishing Chris Brown. I know he's, his behavior hasn't been the best. But he's been really chilling, and he's really been making history. I mean, his concert in Africa was just monumental. And I mean, just listen, he is a phenomenal, iconic talent. And, if Rihanna has forgiven him, why hasn't the rest of the world? And I know he's made some mistakes since then, but listen. Everybody deserves a second chance. And Chris Brown, if don't nobody else tell you, you are our generation's Michael Jackson. Can't nobody dance and sing. There's no other male performer that does it quite like Chris Brown. So I definitely wanted to send him a shout out because I feel like the world has beaten him up enough. Enough is enough. Give this man his flowers. So congratulations to him. Now, before we close, I want to send another huge shout out to the 15% Pledge, a nonprofit organization that supports Black businesses. All of Black Hollywood came dressed to impress. Keke Palmer, Tiana Taylor, Kim Kardashian was there. You know, I'm not really happy with her right now, but I was happy to see her there. Aurora James was there. The who's who of Black Hollywood was there. And they raised $3 million in one night to support Black businesses. Take a look. I want to close with what Aurora James had to say. Take a look.
The 15% pledge has become one of the largest economic drivers for Black Americans that has ever existed in this country. Take that in. We absolutely must shape our lives, who we love, the diversity of thought and experiences that we value, how we invest our time and money. That all must be governed not by an administration, but by who we are and the world we want to see. Each and every one of us, our stories, our pasts, our cultures and identities are part of the fabric that makes America great. Dare I say, more than great, we make America.
Amen. So listen, guys, and this is what I'm talking about. People are starting to mobilize. People are starting to realize we can't play this game anymore. We have to start taking this seriously. So listen, this is the kind of stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about the actions and the plans that we're going to put forth to get our country back, because it's being hijacked, okay? Anyway, guys, I love you so much. I'm glad to be back. And check out this new wig, honey. I am really feeling this wig, honey. Yes, and it is synthetic. For all you girls out there worried about them tariffs, you better go down to the Hair Palace in RVA and check out the synthetic hair section, okay? Because this is giving. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll be back in a few days. I'm not going anywhere. Love you.